Hi guys and welcome back to the Family Monk podcast. So today we're going to be talking about a very important topic, something I've been speaking about for a very long time, and something which I'm sure you would relate to, and this is spiritual resilience. How to build our spiritual resilience. How many of us talk about this, in our spiritual communities? Our spiritual communities are places or spaces where we should always, think of our welfare, how we're doing, and then spiritual resilience is one of the major, problems we face. Sometimes we are hit with adversities, we are hit with obstacles, and then we are not able to bounce back from those, obstacles or adversities. So today we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna discuss, a few ways we could build our spiritual resilience, which is very important. So first we have to understand what is spiritual resilience. We have to understand what it is, and this is the ability to bounce back from adversities, to maintain a sense of inner peace and purpose regardless of external circumstances, regardless of whatever has happened in your life, regardless of whatever difficulties you're going through, the ability to be able to bounce back, is, spiritual resilience. Building spiritual resilience, this empowers us, to face challenges head on. It empowers us. It gives us the strength, to be able to cope through, to push through, challenges which we're going through, we are facing. It gives us also the ability to find meaning to difficult experiences. So this gives it, because when something happens in our life, there are different ways we see it. Some of us see it through the eyes of the scriptures, or through a spiritual perspective. So how do we see it? For example, you're going through some difficulties. How are you seeing it? How are you relating with those experiences you're going through? This is very important. So how do we cultivate spiritual resilience in our lives? And these are a few practices we can put in place to help us build our spiritual resilience. Mindfulness and presence, developing a regular mindfulness practice which allows us to be fully present in the moment. Very important. That we develop some practices which allows us, to be present in the moment, to understand what we're going through, to be able to, to be able to understand, to have a really sense of presence. Why is this happening to me? What am I going to learn from this? This is very important. To observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment. Very important. Because sometimes when we are thinking, we start passing judgment. We let emotions get the better of us, which is quite dangerous when we allow our emotions to just run wild and then be free. So it's very important to observe our thoughts and emotions without any judgment. Through mindfulness, we can cultivate a deeper awareness of our inner world and then the subtle message it holds. Absolutely right. Mindfulness, we underestimate that power of just being mindful, just trying to understand the deeper meaning of whatever is happening in our lives. Closing our eyes, asking ourselves the important questions. Why is this happening in our lives? It's very important. Another point to help us cultivate spiritual resilience is gratitude and appreciation. I cannot stress this that much. Gratitude and appreciation. Cultivating a grateful attitude helps us shift our focus from what's lacking to what's in abundance. Absolutely right. How many of us, are going through a lot of things, but then sometimes we take a break, or we have a bulb go up in the head, and we think, oh, this thing happened to me, which I am grateful for, and in that minute we forget all the difficulties we're going through. We have to learn to celebrate, or to be grateful for every little thing that is happening in our lives. This could be anything that is happening. It could be the smallest thing that is happening in your life. We have to learn to be very grateful, to be appreciative of what is happening in our lives. Gratitude and appreciation are very important as spiritual practitioners. We have to always be grateful. This could be whether we're going through a negative experience or a positive experience, whether we are in a good state or not. We always have to be grateful, and then it's very important to shift our thoughts or our mentality from that feeling that we are lacking something, to the feeling that we have something in abundance. Very, very important. Even in challenging time, there's always something to be grateful for. Absolutely right. During challenging times, it's easy for us to raise our hands and say, look, I give up. I'm going through a lot of suffering, and then there's nothing happening right for me. But even in that situation, we have to, first of all, be grateful. What is this? Why is this happening to me? What is the lessons that I'm going to be learning from this? How am I going to come out this situation of this situation a better person? Very important. And then this point is very, very dear to me too. Inner reflection and self-inquiry. Inner, looking within, going within, finding the answers within you. Because most of things happening in our lives, we actually have the answers, but we are not willing to go within. We are not willing to really do a self-inquiry of why that is happening to us. We have to take the time to reflect on our beliefs, values, and self-inquiry to understand your inner motivations and desires and fears. This process of self-discovery allows us to align our actions with our authentic self and build a solid foundation for spiritual resilience. Very, very, very important. So yeah, whenever you're going through something a difficult period in your life, just take some time and do some inner inquiry. Ask yourself the most important questions. Why is this happening to me? What are the lessons I need to learn from this? What are the take away from this difficulty? I know some situations are super difficult that you cannot even begin to ask yourself questions, because you feel that it's just a lot to take in. But even during that period of your life where a lot of difficulties, a lot of challenges, still find some time to really ask yourself questions. Because if you do, trust me, you would first of all have some realization. Your inner spirit would guide you and then give you some answers, which it wouldn't stop the difficulties you're going through, but it will give you some sort of comfort, which is a good step to recovering or bouncing back from whatever adversities you're going through. Connection with nature. Right. Nature has a way of grounding us and reminding us of the interconnectedness of all things. Everything is connected. Everything we know in our life is connected. Spend time in nature. Take some time out. Go to have a walk. Go to the park. Spend your time in nature. Allow nature to nourish you with some positivity. With some joy, some bliss. So nature is very important. So it's very important that we have, as spiritual practitioners, we learn or we understand that it's very important to build our spiritual resilience. Because if we are not able to build our spiritual resilience, what's happening is that we're going through difficulties, we're going through a lot of challenges, and then we start blaming ourselves, we start blaming the communities we live in, we start blaming, our beliefs, we lose faith in our beliefs. So it's very important that we really, really spend some time, practicing or cultivating, you know, things that build our spiritual resilience. So, one thing we have to understand is building spiritual resilience isn't about avoiding hardship or suppressing emotions. It's about developing a deeper sense of trust in yourself and the universe, knowing that you have the inner strength to overcome any obstacles that comes your way. So this is, the message I wanted to share with each and every one of you guys today. Because I know as spiritual practitioners, sometimes we overlook these little steps in our practice. We overlook it, and then we end up burning out, or we end up, losing faith in whatever we're practicing it. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this, could have some sort of positive impact. Whatever you're going through right now, whatever difficulties you're facing right now, one thing I want you to know is that spend some time reflecting, in your inner self, asking yourself those questions which are important, asking yourself what lessons you can learn from whatever you're going through.